All right,
Yep.
TJ. Uh, this week you lost to a score of 119 to 116 to your rival Code Monkey. I just want to give overall thoughts on that matchup.
Yeah, obviously a tough loss. My team kind of whelmed. I wouldn't say necessarily underwhelmed or overwhelmed. If I want to take a takeaway, special teams is outscored by about 19 points and I lost by 3.7. So you could say my team won the position battle. Obviously, I lost and I'm not mincing words about that. But some good things that I saw from my team and some bad things. It's week one. You take it week by week. I switched my name from chasing 0-1 to 1-0. I don't know why I did that. I took the L. But honestly, the Panthers loss hurts way more than this. You move on.
Did someone raise their hand? No, okay. All right. So TJ, it hurts to lose to your rival, but it seems like it's just like a tradition for you to lose to Ankith week one every single year. You think that will ever change for you in the future?
Man, I goddamn hope so. I mean, I made it lose value. It doesn't mean as much to me. But a loss is a loss, and that sucks. There's no mincing words. Because it's Unkit, it doesn't mean anything. It's not like this win will somehow, be the difference for him in the wild card. The dude's gonna find a way to lose. I mean, he's a special talent. And so I'm not worried about things like that. It's just a bigger worry about me. It always just sucks to lose. But hey, 2023 Chiefs lost the first game of the season, won the Super Bowl. Why can't I?
All right. A lot of expectations for you this season since you are the defending champ. And you're coming off 0-1. A lot of people don't like the team coming in, and this probably hurts your stocks a little bit. And I just want to know, are you panicking on any players so far?
I have my concerns, but I wouldn't say I'm necessarily panicking. It's week one. I still remember years ago when Marvin Jones Jr. was the best player after 3 weeks. Traded for him and he managed to suck. And since then I learned a valuable lesson that just because a guy's great doesn't mean I'm necessarily gonna go and want to get him. Just because a guy's doing bad doesn't mean that it's time to cut dead weight. It's a long season. You had a bad week one. There's some things that like scare my expectations, but I'm ready to move on. It's nothing to hit the panic button on. Have I considered trades? Honestly, a bit more than I thought I would at this point. And I have sent an offer or two out, but it's okay. We move on.
All right, Sparsh, you have a question?
Yeah, yeah. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know if there's like an actual raise hand button in here. Whatever. So yeah, basically my question kind of builds off of what Rishi asked you with your team. Do you have any concerns? Travis Etienne, he kind of had a whelming game, as you like to put it. He had that big fumble right at the goal line, and there's been some buzz about that kind of his stock trending down, and Tank Bigsby looked good. So do you have any concerns that this might not be the workhorse back that he was last year, and going forward, his role might be slightly compromised?
I mean, sure, you have a concern there, but in all honesty, I don't think I'm too worried. There was 24
No.
carries, the split between the two. Yeah, I was a split 12-12. He had a fumble, but he still had that fumble should have been a touchdown. That's an 8-point swing. He still had the ball there. He still gave me 12 points despite you could call it
Yeah.
a bad performance or something that's worried, but the modern age of football is you have two running backs. I can't be shocked that yeah, he's not the lead back, maybe. We still don't know. 1 week is 1 week. But honestly, I think we'll see it 8 weeks now. The amount of running backs that are just one is going to shock. I mean, are Christian McCaffrey owners worried about Jordan Mason's production? You have questions. Is Jonathan Taylor owners worried about that Anthony Richardson, if he's healthy, will still
Well,
take
I
touches?
think the CMC versus Travis Etienne is a pretty big difference. I think that's kind of comparing
Sure,
apples to oranges there.
no, but I don't think that's necessarily true because you still expect Christian McCaffrey to be good, but he got injured. How bad's the injury after week one? Achilles tendonitis, right? And
Oh,
I think
absolutely.
yeah, you can't spam the panic button after week one. You can raise your eyebrows. Wow, that wasn't
Sure.
great. But it's not that like if I offload Travis Etienne, am I selling him way too low? Am I selling him at all? I would
Sure,
actually,
sure, sure.
I have no reason to be too scared. You know, this is a team that ran the ball 24 times when they lost.
Okay.
That's a positive, right? And so I can't be too mad at a guy that had a bad and eyebrow raising game and scored 12 points. Obviously, he's my RB1. You want more. It's okay. I wouldn't say that's necessary. You know, he doesn't fumble, he scores a touchdown, I win this week. You know, that's
Do
something I'm
you
disappointed about.
do you have in terms of like your approach to managing the season, are you approaching it differently than you did last year when you had that really successful season that took you to the chip?
Well, if you look at last year when I got one of these, you know, I didn't necessarily have a great start. I made some trades. Will I make trades this year? I mean, knowing me, I like to make trades. I
No.
probably will. But that doesn't necessarily mean that, you know, every year is different because you have a different roster. You know, what are my strengths after 2 weeks versus last year versus this year? I don't even know. It's week one. I have things that I feel good about. I have things I don't feel as good about. That doesn't necessarily mean they're strengths or weaknesses. It's too early to make any claim. All I can
Okay.
do is into week two. Actually, let me look at my opponent. I believe it's good old, sorry folks at home, Keshav. You know, that's a guy that made the top four, has a still positive team after the draft everyone looked at. Didn't do too well last week. Doesn't necessarily mean his team is bad or good. You know, I be scared that HN missed practice last week, so now maybe a guy like or missed practice today, so now just Jalen Wright gets to step up even though he's inactive, right? I mean, there's so many things about like even my bench, you know, what to drop, what to pick up. The waivers are weak. Does that mean somebody's going to drop somebody that's maybe too good, or is there somebody we're overlooking on? There's so many questions and nobody has answers. You know, we can do the same
Okay.
interview next week and we can talk completely differently about my team.
Yep. Yep. Okay. Good points. Good
All right,
points.
Ankit.
So I have two questions. One, what do you think is the most concerning thing to you right now? I know it's week one, obviously no overreactions, but maybe what is your overreaction to week one?
My overreaction to week one is I think this is going to be a historically dry year in fantasy football. I don't think it has anything. I think my roster is weak, but I think there's a lot of concerns for this week. You know, the amount of quarterbacks with less than 200 passing yards should be eyebrow raising, right? Is that something that really sticks out and we have to figure out, you know, to whoever is the cream of the crop offense, we really value stakes in them, right? Is this something where the waivers, I have to be way more aggressive in who I'm getting because there's not going to be that many great targets this year. I mean, in our league, we seem to all be savvy with handcuffs and whoever's in waivers, and a lot of the hot guys to get on waivers are already on rosters this year. So does that mean the few guys that are left, you quote unquote overspend for? I don't know. And that's something that I think we'll learn in a couple weeks what is right and what is wrong. And I think that's really a storyline to watch this year.
Okay, I like that answer. I've been thinking the same thing all day. Now my second question. In terms of sportsmanship, I know at the start of the 1 o'clock window, you had a lot of your guys score early, and you decided with the new ESPN feature you can taunt your opponent. So I know you taunted your opponent after about maybe like 6 times for all the touchdowns that you scored in the early window. Maybe it's 4 times, I don't know. Do you think you're going to continue doing that? Do you feel like it's bad karma
Yeah,
for what
with the new
followed?
NFL rules of you don't get really that much fine for celebrating, there's a lot more leisure in your celebrations. I thought, why not keep the same in the spirit of the league? If I score, I'm gonna celebrate. Like, act like you've been there is definitely a fair phrase, but it's a touchdown, man. Them and I would dance too, you know. I think that's fine for my players to do it. I want to know that the guy I'm playing against is thinking about it. Maybe it forces him to make a daring flex move in the 4 o'clock slate. I'm there. I'm gonna keep doing it, and I hope you keep not enjoying it.
Hey, and I want to back that 100% because I've thought the same thing. You know, if they next year, they let me kind of record my own clip, put my own emote on there. You know, I'll be gritty and all over my opponents for sure.
Yeah, I'm gonna hit the Quan personally, but hey, to each their own.
To
And
each their
that's
own, absolutely.
all right. Enough out of the cornballs.
All right, TJ. I think that's all we have time for.
Thank
Thank you
you.
for being here, and good luck to you next week.
Thank you. See y'all after I'm 1-1.
All right. I'm going to spotlight Ankith. Ankith, you ready or you want to eat?
No, I can do it.
All right.
Badass.
Whoa.
On the record is crazy.
Hold on, that part is getting cut. Joseph, cut it.
This is a dude. Joseph's not cutting. He's not cutting that.
Hello, Ankith. You beat last week. You beat your team. I mean, you beat your league rival TJ, 119, 116. It's a big win for you. It's your first win in over 11 months. Uh, I just want to get your overall thoughts on that.
Um, you know, the goal this season is, don't get too high, don't get too low. So, obviously I'm happy to get the win. But I'm trying to, just not get too net. TJ, you'll have your time for questions. So, I just want to, not get too ahead of myself. So, for that reason, I was kayaking during the 1 o'clock window, just, taking time for myself, life beyond fantasy. But obviously I still want to win. So, I'll take this, hopefully use as a little momentum, but next week is not this week. So, go into it, open mind. Just try to see what we can do to best keep improving the team and, keep winning.
All right, TJ.
Yeah, so Ankith, congrats on the win. It's always good to be 1-0. Can never complain. But last year you went 1-0. And so I'm wondering, what is it about maybe this team or about you as a coach and GM that's changed that you think you'll be able to change the fate of what happens after 1-0? Because we know how that story goes.
I think this year, the biggest thing is I think there's a lot more balance around my team. I think last year that was really the plight of it all. Lack of balance, getting married to players, all that type of stuff. So, made sure we had a lot more balance of a roster this year, not getting married to anyone either. And there are guys that did well, but still doing a deep dive into their performance, maybe there's some things that aren't sustainable, that type of stuff. So keeping all that in mind as I move forward. And that's really the biggest thing. I like the balance that I have with my team. So yeah, that's honestly the biggest thing.
Yeah, and I completely agree. I wouldn't say I completely agree. It's nice to see that you have this calmness and composure in regards to your team. But I'd actually argue you have probably the best running back room in the league. I think it's really, really strong, which is funny because last year you drafted so many and they all sucked and you didn't know what to do. But this year, I would argue that you don't seem to have a clear wide receiver one. You seem to have a couple good guys in the room. Even the bench seems to have names. Xavier Worthy had himself a game. Always exciting to see a rookie pop off. But is there any concern for you that there wasn't a guy that really established himself from a volume perspective as a wide receiver one? And even some of the guys on the bench, and Christian Kirk only having one catch, Tank Dell seeing like he was a little limited with all those mouths to feed in that offense. Is there any concern there? Is there, you said not getting married to guys. Does that mean we might see a trade, sooner rather than later for these things? Like, what's your mindset on that?
Yeah. So, obviously I'm gonna keep my mind open to a lot of things. At the same time, for some of those guys that had lower stats, again, week one, we don't want to overreact. Christian Kirk had last year had a horrible week one. So there's his route participation, all that stuff was still good. So we got to just monitor and see as things go. I personally didn't watch those games, so I can't visually tell you anything about that. But still, at the end of the day, guys like Waddle, I feel good about his target share, his ability to get open, all that type of stuff. And I mean, honestly, it's encouraging that I know a lot of my points came from defense, which obviously I'm thankful for. But I think there's better weeks ahead for my quarterback as well as Brendan Ayuk. So I think there's a lot of, again, comes back to balance, which I think I have. But again, week one, don't want to overreact, but still keeping an open mind, cooking up ideas, maybe I want to trade down the road. So that's something, maybe, I get into week 3, week 4, then I start to entertain trades and that type of stuff.
Yeah, I've got a few questions if you don't mind me jumping in here. First, so you've got Code Monkey, you're running the same name back as last year. You've added a master to the moniker here. What can you speak a little on that?
Yeah, so master is a term for, your when you push something to production in code, it's your master.
Okay.
So this is a lot of tweaking happened to the model, so now this is the development build this time, no, nothing too finicky. This is for real. So it got pushed to the master
Sure.
branch.
So this is your third year implementing the model, correct?
Yeah.
Into your draft strategy. Would you say that the jump from I guess 2.0 to 3.0 where we are now is bigger than any other um, kind of between models prior?
Absolutely. A lot more
Okay.
of a lot of different data, and also keeping in touch with developments in the AI field. So
Yeah.
yeah.
At all when you were kind of drafting with your model, was there times where your model would kind of tell you to draft a guy and you just didn't want to do it. You just didn't, it didn't sit right with you, something like that. Or were you
Oh, sorry, my bad. Absolutely.
no, go ahead.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. Um, as much of a CS nerd that I am, loving all that stuff. There's got to be a good balance between what you have in the computer and your human intervention. So yeah, there were moments in the draft where I was like, no, I don't want to do this. So
yeah.
I made some executive decisions. You kind of use it. I wanted to make sure this year that I use it as guidance and not necessarily the rules that I have to obey. Um,
Sure.
it's a tool and not the end all be all.
Yeah. Last question here. So, I think the storyline for you this season, is there's a little bit of drama, um, prior to the season starting with talks of your franchise kind of leaving the league, making an exit. Um, glad to have you back for a third year. Do you see this as some kind of make or break year? If your franchise can't pull it together, it might be looking to change ownership, or what's your mentality?
I mean, if I get lost again, then I that's I'm not gonna get lost again, so we're not even gonna ponder that. But regardless, I can't leave this league just because the camaraderie here is too important. Um, it's like we're
Here,
just
here.
it's just too much of a well-knit group, and it's something that I just want to continue just doing for years on years. Um, so I mean, it's like, so I was talking to someone. And I was like, yeah, my whole fantasy football league would be at my wedding, absolutely. So it's reasons like that where it's just like I just can't leave. Like this league is just too important. And it's
Yeah,
a
this got to be the
great way for us to stay connected as we age. We go to different places. It's hard to be together. But
yeah.
this is a way to keep us united. So even if I have a not great year again, I'll still be here next year.
Yeah, man,
As
that's
long
that's
as long
that's
as
really
commissioner.
wonderfully said.
I'm gonna jump
That's
in
really
here.
well put.
There was rumors, whispers of you leaving. So can we say that that'll never happen now after such a heartfelt sentimental message?
Absolutely, unless commissioner decides that I'm not good enough for the league.
Second of
All
all,
right.
is there any consideration of maybe
That is a
utilize
sorry. That is a real scenario though. Just saying. But go back. Sorry, TJ.
All
This
that hard
this might
caliber.
this
I
might be
talked
the
about
most
inviting the
wholesome
league to my
piece of
wedding.
media.
Is
This
there
might
any
be the most wholesome
consideration
piece of. Oh, go ahead.
of utilizing a model for trades? We have no reason to believe you're good at it. I think historically you've actually struggled with trading. Is there any consideration to consider that when trading? Is it more of a hard thing? How is that something that you'll consider in the future?
There is some usage of it. But if I'm being honest, I don't think I really put in enough time for it was really draft based. In terms of updating value throughout the season. I don't really think it's good enough. There is a value chart, but I don't think it's like the best per se. So I'm gonna stray away from it. Trust my instincts. And again, the reason trading was so difficult in the past is I get married to the players, so we're not doing that this year. Looking
I
at
think it's a
looking
great
at
idea.
yeah,
Historically, your model's been shit. Your instincts haven't been great, but at least this has to be maybe better, right? So I'd hope that for you. So good luck.
thank you.
Have you ever thought about reversing the model? You know, like having the model do its thing and then just reversing the picks there?
They say fading the model.
Fading the model, man, because look, if you faded the model exactly, one would think that 2 years in last place, you could have ended up in first place both of those years, you know. I'm no like I don't know what the
That's what the
logic of
experts are
that works
saying.
out. Yeah,
How do
yeah.
you how would you fade a big board? Would you basically do it as like um whoever is above like in values above their ADP, you'd want me to like flip it?
Yeah.
You know, the
So then basically
technicalities
I'd be picking at
are
80.
my strength. It's just
You want me to pick an ADP then? Like just strictly off ADP then? That's basically what you're saying.
kind of well, what I guess one way you could have done it is you know, whoever your model says to draft, just cross that guy off and then keep going from there.
So
So
how just I know this is getting a bit like sidetracked here, but I would ask
sure.
how many times do I have to cross off a dude?
Well, so the way I would see
I
it
mean,
is if he's at the top of the model and you like him, he's guaranteed a bust. So
yeah.
just simply do that. If there's any form of contradiction, he can't be that bad.
Okay. You know,
um,
this is we're past the draft, so you know there's not really much we can do about this right now. Um,
We're saying
but
for next year, in the 40% chance you happen to get last again. Damn it, if you get last again, I'll find a way to put your name on this trophy. Okay.
if I
No,
get
if it lasts again, we'll make a new trophy.
no, I was about to
Like
say
that is so impressive. Like, you don't understand. You don't understand. Just getting back to back. I know we're just going off track, right? But just getting back to back last. You know how impressive that is. Like, just, like, I can't even fathom it.
wait, that's what I was about to say. You know, if I get last again, I'm buying myself a trophy. Just like the league, they have the Sacco. Um,
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
so yeah, I would absolutely do that to myself because I deserve that.
All right, that's all we have time for, Ankit. You know, thank you for being on here. Congrats on the big win. You know, first win in 11 months, and good luck to you next week.
Yep, I'll see Sam next week.